He woke to darkness so complete it felt like a weight pressing against his skin. His breath came in sharp, panicked bursts as he flailed, only to find that his arms met cold, rigid walls on either side. The air was thick and stale, tasting of old wood, metal, and something far more putrid. He tried to scream, but his voice cracked in his dry throat. Then he felt it, a warm, sticky wetness against his side. His fingers trembled as they explored the space beside him. The shape was human. Still, unmoving. His hand brushed against flesh, soft and clammy, and the unmistakable slickness of fresh blood. The realization came crashing into his mind like a landslide. He was in a coffin, and he wasn't alone. The man shoved with all his strength against the lid above him. It didn't budge. The wooden ceiling seemed fused to the box. Nails, bolts, perhaps something even worse. He tried to ignore the body next to him, but the stench was already filling the space, invading his nostrils, turning his stomach. He gagged and turned his face away, only to feel something cold touch his cheek. Fingers, he screamed, a guttural animal scream that echoed within the coffin but reached no further. The fingers slipped down his jaw as though the corpse was reaching for him. But corpses didn't move, right? He squeezed his eyes shut, hoping he was dreaming, hallucinating, anything. But when he opened them, the darkness was still there, heavier than before. Memories were scattered, broken shards in his brain. He didn't know his name, didn't remember how he got there. The last thing he recalled was a sharp pain in his neck, a bright light, and then nothing. Now he was lying next to a dead body in a box buried who knew where, with no air and no chance of survival. The body twitched. He froze. He hadn't moved, but the body had. A small jerk, a convulsion. The man whimpered and pressed himself against the coffin wall, but there was nowhere to go. The flesh beside him shifted again. A wet sound accompanied it, like meat slapping against wood. Then a moan. Low. Gurgling. Alive? No, not alive. The sound was wrong. It bubbled like thick liquid churning through a broken throat. Then he felt it, hot breath on his neck. The man howled and punched at the corpse. His fists hit bone beneath skin, and something snapped. But the dead thing didn't stop. It rolled toward him, its head lolling grotesquely on a limp neck. His hand connected with its face. Soft tissue gave way, and he felt a tooth break off under his knuckles. The jaw hung open now, leaking fluids. The body pressed against him, and he realized something unthinkable. It wasn't just dead. It was rotting, rapidly. The warmth was decay, heat generated by whatever unnatural process was tearing the body down, and it was speeding up. Flies. The sound of buzzing grew louder, as if the insects were within the coffin itself. The man felt the brush of wings against his face. He slapped them away only for more to take their place. The corpse's eye burst, with a wet pop beside him, and something thick and black splashed his arm. He screamed again, and this time he felt his voice begin to crack apart. He tried to kick, to shove, to break free, but the coffin was too small, and the dead body was now crawling atop him. Skin peeled off in chunks, revealing the slippery muscle beneath. Its face collapsed against his chest, teeth sinking into his shirt. The man felt the puncture but couldn't tell if it was teeth or just bone. Everything was pain and wetness. He cried. The first tear had barely formed before it was wiped away by the corpse's tongue, or what was left of it. A rotted strip of meat dragged across his cheek. The tongue seemed to have a mind of its own, tasting him, judging. The corpse began to shake violently, spasming. Its limbs knocked against the coffin walls with dull thuds. A sick gurgle echoed, and suddenly the body vomited black sludge over him. It was warm, rancid, thick as oil. It filled his mouth before he could close it. He choked, coughed, gagged. The liquid burned his throat. His body convulsed, trying to reject it, but he could feel it moving inside him, Worms, not sludge. Worms, dozens of them, squirming down his throat. He thrashed in the coffin, his body scraping against the wood. The worms wriggled in his ears, nostrils, eyes. He screamed so hard his vocal cords tore. Blood filled his mouth. The corpse was melting now, disintegrating, and yet still moving, still clinging to him with what was left of its limbs. Time lost all meaning. Hours, days, minutes. None of it mattered. He lay in the coffin, shaking, sobbing, coated in rot, half mad. The body was no longer a body. It was a pool of rot and rage, and it had become part of him. He could feel it under his skin. The worms had burrowed in, and then the whispering began. It wasn't in his ears. It was inside his head. Dozens of voices speaking in different tongues, laughing, chanting, pleading. Some screamed, others whispered sweetly, but all of them told him the same thing. "You're next." He clawed at his skin, trying to tear the worms out. Blood ran from his face, arms, chest. The coffin was slick with it now. But the more he bled, the louder the voices grew. The body's last eye stared at him from the corner, still intact, still watching, and it blinked. Something cracked above him, a noise like wood splitting. Hope surged for a moment. Was someone opening the coffin? But instead, something dripped onto his forehead. Not water, not dirt. Something milky and thick. He looked up and a second eyelid slid open from the ceiling. Another eye, watching. He wasn't in a coffin anymore. Not really. The box was part of something larger, something living. A womb, a prison, a creature. He didn't know. He only knew that the walls around him were pulsing now. Breathing. The eye above him dilated. A heartbeat filled the space. Not his own. Something enormous. A rhythm that shook the walls, and with each beat, the corpse beside him twitched, laughed, and spoke his name. His name. He remembered now. But he wished he didn't. Because remembering meant accepting. Accepting meant belonging. And he didn't want to belong to this. He tried to scream again, but his jaw wouldn't move. It had fused shut. His limbs felt heavy. Numb. The corpse rolled back onto him. Its mouth opened impossibly wide, and from its throat came a sound that broke his sanity. Not a growl. Not a scream. A lullaby. The words were in a language he didn't understand, but the meaning was clear. Sleep. Sleep now. You are one with us. You are flesh of our flesh. You are rot of our rot. Sleep. The darkness wasn't empty anymore. Shapes moved beyond the walls, watching, crawling, waiting. He could feel them press in, not to kill, to welcome. He tried to fight, but his body betrayed him. His skin split open in places, revealing eyes underneath. His fingers merged with the corpse's. They became one thing. He no longer had a name, no longer had thoughts, only whispers. And below the coffin, something laughed, something old, something patient. It had waited long enough.